It's clear that Higgsfield has been on a serious streak recently. They've just launched Cinema Studio 1.5, which now includes Aperture control. On top of that, they recently introduced the AI Stylist, allowing you to swap your character's clothing into very specific outfits. They also rolled out Relight, a feature that lets you completely relight an entire scene. All right, let's jump right in. First up, we're going to take a closer look at Cinema Studio 1.5. There are a few notable updates here. You can now organize your projects from the left-hand panel. When you click on the project name, all related assets, videos, and images are neatly grouped in one place. This makes project organization incredibly easy, and I really like this update. Now, when you move down to the camera selection section, you'll notice the layout has changed slightly. You can view all your cameras and lenses, and on the right-hand side, you'll now see aperture controls, along with a recommended option. By clicking recommended, the system automatically suggests a preset configuration. It provides a suggested camera, lens, focal length, and aperture combination. I'd recommend starting there to understand the differences, which is exactly what we're going to do. You also have the option to create a custom setup and save it for later use. So let's begin with the Panavision Millennium Vision C series paired with a 35mm focal length lens and an f1.2. This will be our starting configuration. I created this character from one of my original sketches and converted him into a live action version. There are a few scenes I want to explore, and for now, this character goes by the name Parker. So let's go ahead and upload the character. We're also going to include a vehicle, specifically the Lamborghini Lanzador, which happens to be one of my dream cars. The goal is to place this car inside a warehouse environment and see how the scene comes together. To set this up, I created a prompt using ChatGPT. The prompt describes an old, abandoned industrial warehouse at dusk, featuring a large open space, cracked concrete flooring, tall steel beams, with the car placed in the foreground and the character standing in the background. The current setup uses the Panavision camera with a 35mm focal length and an f1.2. Let's generate the scene and see how it turns out. Next, we'll try another generation using the red V-Raptor paired with the JDC XL Express lens, still at a 35mm focal length but with an f2.8. We'll generate that as well. After that, we have a Sony setup using a 50mm focal length, and we also have the ARRI Flex 16 SR. It uses an 8mm focal length with an f5.6. Now, let's check the results. Honestly, we're reaching a stage where AI-generated videos and images are beginning to resemble real films, and the technology continues to improve. I'm very pleased with the results so far. This version uses the Panavision camera and lens at an f1.4. It looks fantastic. The outer edges and the lens flare really add to the visual appeal. I'm a big fan of how this turned out. I also ran a few additional generations focused on close-up shots to better examine aperture effects and depth of field. Here's one of them, and it turned out incredibly well. The depth of field is especially impressive. This was generated using the Panavision Millennium with an f1.4. You really just have to keep experimenting to dial in the look you want. Here's a close-up shot of the car. For this one, I use the IMAX camera paired with an ARRI lens. The focal length is 50mm and the aperture is set to f1.4. This tool is extremely powerful. Now let's move on to relighting. To do this, you simply go into Edit and select Relight. Once inside the Relight feature, upload your image. This is the image I used. On the right-hand side, you'll see the Relight control panel. In the center, you can reposition your lights, and a small sphere indicates where the light source will be placed. This gives you a lot of flexibility in controlling light placement. At the top, you'll find quick selection options, such as top, front, right, left, back, and bottom. Below that, you have lighting presets and settings, including soft light, hard light, and brightness adjustments. You can also choose a specific color for the light. For this example, I'm going to try a blue light to create a more cinematic effect. I'll increase the brightness to around 50% and select a hard light. I prefer the light coming from the upside, so let's generate and see how it turns out. Alright, the generation is finished and it delivered exactly what I was aiming for. Here's the before and here's the after. The difference is impressive. Next, let's change the light direction and try lighting from the right side. I changed the color to red, I reduced the brightness to 30%, and changed it to a soft light. We'll generate that and see the result. All right, now we have lighting coming from the right, and it looks great. When compared to the previous version, the earlier light was coming from the top, while this one is coming from the right. It did an excellent job. The next lighting setup comes from the left side, and that also looks great. It completely transforms the overall appearance of the image, but I actually like the result quite a bit. You can use the compare toggle located in the bottom corner to switch between the before and after views. This makes it easy to see the changes instantly. Now let's move on to the AI Stylist feature. To access it, simply click on AI Stylist here. Here's the character we'll be working with. You can choose to replace the entire outfit, or you can upload your own clothing reference. For this example, we'll select this top option, which I really like. There are also outfit sets available. From there, we can choose bottoms, so let's go with these light wash jeans. For footwear, we'll select a pair of black loafers. There are also background options available. Let's switch to a garage-style background. You can even change the pose, which is a nice touch. We'll go with a standard pose. Now that all the options are selected, let's generate the result. Here's the final output, and it turned out great. We have the before image followed by the updated one. The outfit applied exactly as selected. Overall, I'm extremely impressed with the AI Stylist. The fact that it can break down an outfit into individual elements and then create an image that looks like a live-action Death Stranding scene is amazing. It even added realistic reflections beneath the character where he's standing. I'd really like to hear what you think about this. In my opinion, this is an incredible tool. It allows for deep character customization, outfit changes, and scene creation using Cinema Studio 1.5, complete with depth of field and aperture controls. I think Higgsfield is doing an excellent job making these tools easy to use and accessible for creators. It removes much of the complexity and makes scene and character creation far more approachable. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications by clicking the bell so you don't miss the latest Sketch Lab episode. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.